In this video, we're going to be talking about something that could be causing a big disconnect from the amount of people that are visiting your church website to the amount of people that are actually visiting on Sunday mornings. And that is lack of clarity. If you're confusing people, if your messaging is not clear on your website, especially in certain key areas of your church website, then you're going to turn people off. You're going to confuse people. And that's going to lead to people clicking out of your website, checking out other websites, getting bored, getting distracted, going somewhere else. So in this video, we're going to give you a very, very clear guide and framework for number one, the importance of a clarity statement, why you need to have one for your church website. Number two, how to craft that clarity statement. What are the components that need to be included in that clarity statement? And then number three, where does that clarity statement need to show up on your church website in order for your church website to convert website visitors into church visitors? Hey everyone, Brandon here with Richie Creative. Hey, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, this is a YouTube channel for you, the pastor, the church leader, the communications director, anyone who is in charge of your church or your ministry's online presence. We want to put tools, practical tools, feedback. We want to put resources in your hands so that you can continue to reach new people in your community through your online presence and through your website strategy. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you can be notified when a new training video comes out, so we can continue to learn together, grow together, and continue to invite new people in our community into our church body and church community through our website and online presence. But before we get into giving you a framework and a formula that you can use to craft a perfect clarity statement for your church, and you can stop confusing your visitors, start giving them the clarity that they need that can hopefully then convert them from church website visitors into actual visitors to your church location. Before we get into that, let's kind of set the stage for why clarity is important, why you need to be clear with your copy, with your messaging, with your one-liner. Now, I do these free website audits and free web strategy sessions live with pastors and church leaders every single day. So I see a lot of church websites, and you would be shocked if I told you how many church websites had a clarity statement above the fold that actually didn't say anything about their church, about what they do, why they do it. Too many churches are saying things like, come worship with us, and then that's it. That's all that's above the fold. Or there's no copy above the fold. There's no messaging. There's no clarity statement. Or they say something like, in the community since 1983. Well, that could be any business. That could be any nonprofit. That could be any kind of church or any denomination of church. Or they say something actually pretty clever, like reach in, reach out, reach up. But the problem there is, again, we don't know that you're a church. We don't know what you do as a church. We don't know why you do it. What's your heartbeat as a church? What's your vision? And so you don't want to make that above the fold section super crowded. I'm not saying you want to have a paragraph there, one or two sentences tops that is very, very clear, invites your potential church visitor into a story, communicates the right things about your church and not the wrong things. And we're going to teach you how to do that. But first, what's the point in the clarity statement? Why do we need to be clear? Why is the messaging component something that I'm stressing so much? And why is it such an integral part of your church website's strategy? So there's really three main roles that your clarity statement or your messaging for your church is going to take. And so this is why it's so important that you're clear on it and that you're crafting a clarity statement that's actually saying the right things about your church and about your ministry. Is number one, it's attracting people into your church. So it's bringing people through the doors of your church. Maybe they're reading the clarity statement on social media posts, on Facebook ads. Maybe they're just seeing it on the website above the fold, that clarity statement. And then that's what's enticing them or kind of drawing them into the church body, into your actual physical church location. But it's drawing people into the actual physical doors of your church, inviting them into the community, inviting them into the congregation. So that's step one, or that's the first thing that your messaging and your clarity statement is responsible for, is drawing people into your church. Well, the next thing that your messaging plays a critical role in is once they're in the church, then there's communication happening, there's messaging happening. You are communicating this clarity and this messaging from stage, from the pulpit, in small groups and connect groups. Just in the life of the church, there's this common thread of your clarity statement and your messaging. And so that is the second role that your messaging plays. So it's not only for attracting new people, but it's also for just discipling and sharpening the people that are actually already in the doors of your church, that are already in your church community and church congregation. So it's the second role. And then the third role that your messaging plays, which is another very critical component, is as people are leaving your church, and by leaving, I mean they're being sent out to go disciple new people and bring new people into the church. They're going as quote unquote missionaries into their local communities or into the world to then hopefully draw more people into your church so that more conversations can happen inside of your church, so that hopefully more people can get sent out, so that hopefully more people can be brought in. And so as you can see, it's a very cyclical process, and your messaging plays a critical role in that. You're saying the same kinds of things, and you're communicating these common threads and these common things about your church, the same language about your church, and all of it's going to be used to draw people in, to sharpen the people that are in, and then to send people out. And so your messaging plays a critical role in that. You have to have messaging that is clear and that is communicating the right things about your church, about your ministry, and not communicating the wrong things. Okay, so we've painted a picture. Messaging is important. Clarity statement is important. You don't want to confuse people. You don't want to deter people from actually visiting your actual church location. So what do we do about it? How do we craft a clarity statement that is actually communicating the right things about our church? So I recommend creating a clarity statement that's answering these 3 specific questions, and then we're going to go into more details in just a second. We're going to talk about how to deploy this clarity statement, where it needs to show up on your website. But it needs to answer these 3 specific questions. Number 1, who are you? As a church, who are you? Number 2, what do you do? As a church, what are you in the business of doing? What do you do? Number 3, why do you do it? Why should somebody care? How is their life going to be made better by participating in your church or in your ministry? So those are 3 specific questions that every single church needs to be answering with their messaging, with their copy, with their clarity on their website. And again, it's not just on your website. You're going to be saying these same things from the pulpit. You're going to be saying these same things in connect groups and small groups. But your church website does play a critical role in where your messaging and where your copy and your clarity statement should show up. One author that I would highly recommend reading if you're a pastor or church leader who wants to take a deep dive on messaging, you want to learn more about how to invite your potential church visitors into a story where they actually want to participate in the story of your church, and your messaging is kind of communicating that or conveying that, or you want it to communicate that or to convey that in a compelling way. I would check out Donald Miller. I think he's most known for his Storybrand framework. He wrote the book Building a Storybrand, which I have right here. Great book for building a messaging framework that's actually inviting people into a story. Now, he didn't write this specifically for pastors or for church leaders. The language is geared mostly towards business owners, entrepreneurs, but you can apply it to your church, certainly. And I think it's going to help lend to clarity, lend to what is our church about? What do we do? Who are we? Why do we do it? How is somebody's life going to be positively impacted if they participate in our church family and join our congregation on Sunday morning? So again, that's a great book that I would highly recommend from Donald Miller, Building a Storybrand. If you don't know where to start in terms of your messaging framework, creating a clarity statement, of course, use the framework that I just gave you. Who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? If you want to take a deep dive, check out Building a Storybrand by Donald Miller. Okay, so we talked about the importance of clarity. We gave you a really great framework and a resource for how to create a clarity statement that's actually going to invite your potential visitors into a story, inviting them into your church. But now, where does that clarity statement need to show up? How do we deploy it effectively on your website? There's really a few different places where this needs to show up. The top spot, the number 1 spot, is above the fold. I already talked about this earlier, but you want to make sure that above the fold, when somebody first comes to your website, this is one of the things in that 50 milliseconds where they're making a decision whether they want to continue taking a deep dive into your church website, clicking on pages, scrolling through it. Your clarity statement is going to play a very critical role in that. So make sure it's right there above the fold. Ideally over top of a picture or a video of happy, smiling people in your church congregation. There's your clarity statement right there. Number 2, I would recommend putting this in the footer. The footer is an underrated part of your church website. It shows up on every single page. Underneath your logo on the left side of the footer, perhaps that's a great spot to also include that 1 sentence or 1 or 2 sentences, that clarity statement for your church or for your ministry. And then, of course, if somebody's scrolling down the homepage of your church website and they want to learn more about you, they're going to click on a Learn More button or About Us or What We Believe or Our Story. And that is a great page also to include this clarity statement. In conclusion, copy is important, messaging is important, clarity statements are important. And what you currently have above the fold of your church website, just look at it, ask yourself, is this confusing people? Is this turning people off? Is this making somebody get bored, get distracted, check out, go somewhere else? If so, consider crafting a clarity statement right there above the fold of your church website that will hopefully invite your potential church visitors into a story and hopefully convince them to visit your church on Sunday morning so that you can invite them into the community and the family of your church. Well, hopefully this video was helpful. This was a very small snippet of a much larger framework that we use to help pastors and church leaders reach new people in their community, increase giving online, hit their other online objectives. Essentially, our 4-part framework work is mission and messaging and marketing and meaningful experiences all on your website. We did a deep dive into that strategy in one of the first videos that we put on this YouTube channel. So you can check that out. We'll put a link to that. Hey, if you want a resource or a tool that can essentially help you build out a perfect homepage for your church website, we have a guide called The Guide to the Perfect Church Homepage. Essentially, it gives you the main key components you want to make sure that you're including in the homepage of your church website in order to reach new people, increase giving, and hit those online objectives. We'll put a link for that as well. Or maybe you're a pastor or church leader who would benefit from a one-on-one coaching call, just a strategy session looking at your church website, giving you some really practical feedback on ways that you can, hit those different online objectives. This is totally free. Again, we do this every single day for pastors and church leaders across America. I'll put a link in the description where you can schedule a call personally with me or with somebody on our team, where we can basically walk through your website, give you some really good practical feedback to help you hit those online objectives for your church and for your ministry. Again, welcome to the channel. If this video helped you at all, if you'll just give it a like, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so that you can be notified when a new training video comes out. I would love for you to be notified so that we continue to learn together and grow together and build websites that do invite our potential church visitors into a story, inviting them into the doors of our actual church locations. Remember, you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. Stay creative, and we'll catch you next time.